Hi everyone and welcome to Flosstube number 21. And gosh, it's been 2 weeks. I had a little health issue. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video, so if you don't want to hear all about my life, you can actually jump off then. But so we're gonna head into cross stitching. But first, if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for returning. It warms my heart that you choose to spend some time with me. If you're new here, hi, my name is Marika. I am a cross stitcher from Sweden. I live here with my boyfriend and my 2 cats. This is a channel all about cross stitching, and if you want to stay around, hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, like it with thumbs it up, all of that jazz, comment, do all of those things. I really enjoy seeing your comments, even if I sometimes don't come to them until a day or 2 later. I do read all your comments and I try to answer all your comments, and I want to thank you so much for them. Anyhow, I have so much to show you, so let's jump into all of those nice things. So let's start with fully finished objects slash almost fully finished objects. I have a little pile here. We're gonna start off with my mill hills. The mill hills are stitched on perforated paper with the threads and beads that came in the kit. And the first one I have is the last one I finished, and that is the Winter Barn. This is from the Winter Holiday series that was released in 2022, so last year, and I really love it. It is gorgeous. I'm gonna kind of angle it a little bit so if you can get the glance from the beads. These are gorgeous pieces and the beads really makes it pop, and it's so hard to get it on screen so that you can see how shiny and beautiful they are. But this, I really love this one. I have fallen in love with barns. I don't know why. I just realized I might actually have missed to bead in the middle of this one. I don't mind. I like it as it is. Anyhow, let's talk about Santas. I am hosting the Mill Hill Santa Sal 2023. It is for me, my goal with this privately is to stitch a minimum of 12 Mill Hill kits, Santas or gnomes, during 2023. If you want to join the SAL, you don't have to be as insane as me and want to do one each month. Instead, you can do one or just stitch on one. Maybe you have one that you have started but haven't finished. If you share it on the interwebs like Instagram, for example, and you tag it with the Mill Hill Santa Sal 2023, you're joining the SAL. You're joining the SAL. I might actually have some giveaways later in this year. Who knows? If you join, you might be in to enter, right? Yeah, we'll see. Also, I have a specific choice of which Santas and gnomes I'm going to stitch. I have them in my store if for your convenience, but you can stitch whatever Mill Hill kit that you have purchased wherever you have purchased them. So yeah, I am stitching them just as the kit is. I just want to show you this. I showed you this last week. This is the Nunavut Santa. This time I actually have fully finished it. So what I have done is I just have glued on some felt on the back side. I have taped and glued on this little ribbon, which I sandwiched between the paper and the back side. And yes, that is how I have finished that one, and that is done. I really love this one. I really love this one. Now I have number 2. I think I might have started this the last time I recorded. This is the Greenland Santa. I did start it before because I didn't remember the name of it. This is the Greenland Santa. This is the last in the Arctic Circle series that was released in 2009. This is my favorite in the series. This is my favorite in the series. When I was looking at them, I thought the Lapland Santa would be my favorite, but I can tell you, stitching his shirt, it's just glorious. Being a little hobby knitter also, really felt that as Icelandic kind of shirt, it is just gorgeous. I love this one. This one I have backed with some green felt and accidentally used way too much glue. I learned something though. So that's why it has a little bit of spots on the back. You don't need that much glue to actually glue it on. I think I just filled in too much. Anyhow, this is how it is. I chose to go with a red ribbon because I thought it would work with it. So those are those three. They were all stitched from the Mill Hill kits. Everything that I'm using and all the brands of the patterns and everything you will see in the description down below if you are interested. Then we have two that is almost fully finishes. I have laced them onto foam board or poster board together with some batting, and they are going to get layers. I just haven't decided on how. Sometimes it can take me a couple of weeks to really get everything together, but lacing them down really helps. So this is going to be the More Chocolate Bunnies. It is by Hands On Design. This was a SAL, the More Chocolate Bunny SAL, for Nicole Spohr that was hosting that, and this is the finished piece. Last time you saw it, I think I had gone down to the chocolate bunnies, might have done the greenery. Yeah, I probably had done the greenery, but that was all that was done on this. But I finished the stitching and then I laced it, which is a new thing. Well, it's not a new thing, it's just a thing that I went back to. I saw the video that Nicole did when she put her together as a fully finished piece, and she did the lacing, and she really got it to look the way she wanted, and I thought, hey, I have this piece, I can try the lacing, see if I get it to look the way I want. One of the things that I picked up on her lacing was that she was using the Wonder Clips by Clover, so they're little quilt clips, and I have a bunch of those, and that really made the lacing much easier. When I laced back in the day, I used pins, like ordinary like little needle pins thingies, and you just put them around and you kind of fit them into the foam core or the poster board that you are lacing on top of, and they hold the fabric in place, and then you lace. And that was hard. The Clover clips are so much easier. Also, the Clover clips can hold down the corners, so it will hold the corners in place. So you can just do all the folding and everything, put the Clover clips on, then you can look at it and like, oh, okay, I need to move it a little bit or something, and then you can just do that because it's easy. With the pins, you had to do, it took a lot longer time. I also got stuck in the pins. I do get stuck in the Clover with the thread in the Clover clips too, but not as much. Not as much. So yeah, this is my lacing. I do have a recommendation when it comes to the lacing that I didn't see. I went through a couple of lacing tutorials just to refreshen things, and I remember the thing that I know that most of the lacing tutorials I watched at least didn't say, and that is you should start lacing in the middle. Don't go from the side to the other side when you are lacing. There's a big chance of you shifting your design on your box, and also you can get it a little bit crooked if you do that. And all the lacing tutorials that I went through from books back in 2004, before YouTube was a big thing. Well, that was actually before YouTube was a thing. Then you start in the middle. So you start in the middle, use as long thread as you are comfortable with, and whenever your thread run out, just fasten your thread. I've done it multiple times, and then you just start with a new thread. And when you do that, you start in the middle, you go to one direction, and then you start in the middle again and you go to another direction. And then you start on that side and go a little bit more with the next thread, and you do that on the same thing. That will help you really keep your image centered and perfect. I also waited with the corners until the end. So after I laced everything, I then went in and sewed the corners. And I sewed the corners almost with an angle so that the pieces pulls downwards, inwards on both of them, just to keep them nice. The seaming doesn't look nice, but the result, like, look at those corners. I love those corners. But yes, this is More Chocolate Bunnies. It is by Hands On Design, and it is stitched as sharded in the DMC conversion. She has actually sharded it in sulkies, but she did have the DMC conversion. The only thing is here is the was supposed to be the 341. I have chosen to go with the 161 because the fabric I have stitched on is the antique blue. Just a note, I've been calling this vintage blue. It is not vintage blue, it is antique blue. It is the Artiste collection by Swagart for Hobby Lobby, so I don't know if you can get the antique blue anywhere else than Hobby Lobby. I did pick up a Misty blue from which you're gonna see in my haul later on. That is just a little bit darker and a little less green than this one, but I really love this one. It's a gorgeous color. I have another piece which is the Hop On In, which I also laced, so I'm getting good at this now. But this is also by Hands On Design. When Nicole told the artist at Hands On Design, I haven't learned all the names yet, I'm sorry, but when she told them about going to do a SAO with the More Chocolate Bunnies, she said, well, this Hop On In, it is the companion piece to this. Let me make a PDF for it. So you could pick up both as PDFs, which made me really, really happy. I have done a big change on this. It is supposed, all the letters are supposed to be in 341. However, as I said before, this is the same fabric. This is the Antique Blue by Swagart. The 341 just doesn't show up on this fabric at all. Like, you see that it's there, but the lines aren't like solid. So I instead went with the 3781, and kind of a fun thing, when on the Monday morning I hopped over to finish this, I just finished the thread on the N, and I realized that I was really running out of the 3781, and I thought I had it in my stash, but I didn't. So I had to do order, and it ended up being a little bit bigger. You will see in my haul. Anyhow, so when I had finished this fully, I then sewed this, and I had this little line here. I had just the half stitches done and not the full stitches, because that was how close I was to finishing that when my 3781 ran out. Really annoying. But yeah, I finished it, and I made... When I looked at the design, I saw that this piece is hanging out a little bit, so I made it like a little bit, I don't know what you would call this shape, but I gave it a little bit of a point because I really liked it. And it is, as I said, this is also laced. I done some special lacing. For example, I started in the middle, but I went down this way and then towards there, and then I went down this way just to pull these two fabrics a little bit more closer to each other. And then I just sewed all of the corners. The thread I'm using is a Mölnlycke thread, so it is a Swedish brand. It's a really, really old little, really, really cute. I'm gonna say, no. I've changed my desktop. I used to have the little thread on the table. It's super adorable. Wait, here, no. I thought I saw it. I didn't. It's a super cute little thing, but it was like 40 odd meters on it, so I was running out of that. So I'm gonna use the Goodman's extra thick thread instead. But yes, that is my fully finishes. Then we have a pile of finishes. They're not fully finished yet, but they're finished at least. So I've had one of the past 2 weeks, because I've had some migraine left. I have some residual migraine. It's a little bit messing with me. Did have my treatment throughout this week, which is Jovi. However, there's something there that's still messing with me, and on top of that, I picked up a fever because we visited Christopher's brothers and children, and because I don't leave the apartment that often, whenever I go visit people, I have a tendency to pick up a cold or something, and I did that, so I had a couple of days of fever, and that was also why I didn't do video last week. Anyhow, when I'm at that mood, let's get to the point, I need something easy. So I have finished the Loads of Love. When I stopped yesterday, the last video, one of the things I was feeling that was that I will not be doing the Valentine pictures. I just don't want to do them. No. However, as I was waiting for the 3781, and I have 2 more projects I have finished that actually used the 3781, I decided to just pick this up and finish it off. I think I did this after I finished off the Santa, the Greenland Santa. But anyhow, here it is. What I did this week was the little wagon in the middle, or the truck in the middle, with all of the hearts and the little butterflies, and then it was finished. I have stitched this as charted, except for 2 colors of DMC that replaces the weeks, I think it is. As I don't have that much variegated thread, I do want to start investing in it coming this year, but right now I don't. I used to do it in DMC, so the pink that was supposed to be the truck among things, I replaced with 3350. They didn't have the replacements on the chart, so I just went online and got like a chart translation thingy, like from weeks to DMC. So 3350 for the truck, and I think it's 946, the light green. I'm not sure, it's definitely in the description down below otherwise. So yeah, that is the finished truck. I love it, I love it. That needs to be fully finished. So, now I can sit with the smaller things. When I had finished that one, my threads come, and I finished the hop on in. I also had a couple of projects that I was thinking about doing, and I ended up kind of doing the deep dive and actually buying some patterns. I wasn't meant to buy patterns this week, but I did quite some patterns actually. This is Hope by Cherry Hoe Stitchery. So this is it. I really love the colors. I did replace the dark brown with the 3781 though, because I've fallen in love with the 3781. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just realized the Loads of Love. The details will be in description as usual, but that is stitched on 16 count wide Aida. Just so you know. This is stitched on 16 count steel by Fiber on a Whim, and I have a quarter, I think, a fat quarter of that, so that is what I have been using. So this is stitched in the colors, except for me changing the darkest of the brown to 3781 because it was a gorgeous color. But yes, so that is going to be finished. I'm thinking about doing something similar with the shape as I did with the other one, but we'll see when that will be done. And then we have a little bit of an extra project. So there have been market, the Nashville market. The Nashville market is a wholesale market that is held in Nashville every year, where a whole bunch of designers and a cross-stitch thingy, needle thingy, producers, everything comes to the market. They have their own little stalls inside hotel rooms, and then companies go there to buy. It is called cash and carry. Basically, you go in, you buy, you take the things with you. During that time, they also do a whole bunch of freebies. Primrose Cottages was allowed to share this freebie as a PDF. This is Heart in Hand, and I think it's called Do What You Love. I actually just skipped all of the colors that they were using and just replaced it with the colors from the Hope design. A few things with that. The Hope design have a lot less colors, so I just kind of played around with where to put them. There is a couple of colors that just doesn't show up as well on this steel, but I don't mind it. This was sharded in like the prim reds, the prim blues, some like golden prim tones, and that color scheme isn't something I have on my walls usually. It's not my color scheme, so I really made it my own with these colors, and I am so in love with it. I really want to just make a little circle to put behind it and get it up on my wall. So yes, that was that. So the freebie, I got it through Primrose Cottage's email, but I guess that Heart in Hand, who designed this, also gives this out, or if you can get it when you order from your local needle shop, any of the market designs. I don't know. This was how I got it. I have the final and last finish of this period, and that is something that is very crooked. I'm gonna see if I can get it better, but it's crooked. This is Hummingbird Drama by Dimension. So here's the thing. I bought this when I was in the US in December. I picked it up. I thought it was a cross stitch. I didn't look at it. It is needlepoint. I think I've done needlepoint when I was a child, but I haven't really done needlepoint as an adult. And I just want to finish this. I wanted to try it. I think I wouldn't have needed to put it in a frame because it is super crooked, but I really love it. It is using the all of the threads from the project. It was a printed project. I like the restrictiveness of cross-stitch projects, that you have your design, you follow the boxes, and this is not restrictive. This is like, it's color printed. They have little chart with like little flow lines of things, and you get to make it your own. It was fun doing it. I've just been very, very scared about it. But yeah, I don't really like printed designs. But this is how it showed up, and I do like it. I do like it. I just want it to be straight. I did everything they said to make it straight, but it ended up being very crooked. Then I have another partly finished thing that I wanted to share with you before we get into my new starts. And that is my wall hangings for the baby daddies. So this has been a long thing coming, and if you've been with me since basically September, October, I talked to you about wanting to crochet baby blankets. I also told you that due to my lupus and connective tissue issues, I started having really bad pain in my arm and couldn't finish the baby blankets. So then I decided I wanted to make baby blankets, because I have done that before. Well, I've done very simple ones. I never really like quilting is a new thing for me. I haven't done it that much, but I get it in my head that, well, that is not that bad. However, because I haven't done it, knowing how much fabric you need, that is a problem. I bought a stack of flannel, which, by the way, don't quilt in flannel. It's not fun quilting in flannel. I love the outcome, I just don't love the quilting. Anyhow, so I bought a bunch of flannel, like baby things, like, oh, this is how I'm gonna do it. It took me a couple of months to really just finalizing the pattern. And then I sat down and I actually calculated how much fabric I would need. And I was about 7 or 8 yards short. That is a lot of money. So I decided to not purchase 7 or 8 more yards of fabric. Instead, I'm just gonna make them small wall hangings, because that will make it easier on me. It is 3 projects, and I really need to finish them because sadly one of my colleagues are going to leave the company and I need to get this done before he leaves. So yes. So I have 3 of these. They're basically the same. The baby's name are just different. But I stitched this cute little bunny. I will put the information down below, but it is from a... my cat has laid on these. It is from a cross-stitcher magazine from 2015? 2005 or 2015. I will leave it down below. I've had it before, so I leave it down below. But this is how it looks. I'm gonna lean back a little bit so it doesn't get all blown out. But it's this cute little bunny on a moon sleeping, and then I have then added just like a star shape in the quilting around. And I made 3 of these. So one for Olivia, one for Otis, and then the last is for Tobias Benjamin. So yeah, so I have 3 of these finished. I finished them yesterday evening, and I have cut out all the lining. I have like the edge of them. I cut out the backing, so I'm gonna have to cut out batting for it, also layer it, do a little bit of quilting on top just to keep all the layers down, and then it's done. It's a lot more work than you think, okay? Or it was a lot more work than I thought it would be. So the next thing is my new starts. So I found out I've been wanting to stitch all the bee stuff since I saw the bee stuff in like fall, when I was getting all of these Primrose Cottage stuff this fall, and they were so nice, and I wanted them, and I didn't buy them, and then I saw there is a stitch along for the Hive Rules, and I decided to join. I'm still a little bit, I don't know if I will go in their speed or if I will go in my speed, because they are doing 1 piece a month until like August. I'm like, the hive things and the bees, it's summer decoration, I want it up on my walls. But here is how far I have come. I have stitched the first part, which says Hive Rules. I'm stitching it in the shirted DMCs on a very beautiful light 14 count Aida that I've had in my stash since like 2002. So I have a big chunk piece of Aida, of yellow Aida, that has been lying in my stash for a long time. I am not a yellow person. That I have fallen in love with bees is for me a little bit strange, but I'm seeing myself going more and more into fall colors. Like I want everything to be orange and browns, and those are the colors that I'm really drawn to at the moment. So I'm just going with it. So here again, Hive Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitches, and it is stitched on 14 count light yellow Aida. You probably can find one like this. I don't know the brand of this at all. Most likely Swagart, but I don't know if they have it anymore. I can look it up later. But yes, that is project number 1. Then we have project number 2. Now I'm going to show you the end result of this, because this is going to take a lot of time. So this is something I've had in my stash for probably 6 months or something. I don't know. I'm not sure when I bought this. I thought it was a birthday present, but I'm not sure. This is something I've been wanting for years and years and years. It is a Gecko Rose kit. They don't do patterns only, they just do kits. So it is a bigger investment. It is actually fairly expensive. But this is the pattern. This is Gamer Nouveau by Gecko Rose. And it is gorgeous. This is... I've seen it stitched so many times. I've seen people stitching on it. I've been wanting it, and I decided that yes, I'm not supposed to have that many full covered stitches, but right now this is what I want to do. I also having some decision issues and thought this was the best thing to do. This is how far I come. Dee-dee. This is 2% is 3,500 something stitches, I think. It is 2% of the project. It is gonna be big. I made this like thick little roller. I am doing this in hand, and I think that is also one of the reasons why I feel that I can start a new full cover stitch, is that all my full cover stitches, I have 2 on the go, are stitched in frame. And I talked about this before. I did some experiments when I started stitching in hand, and I found that when I stitch in hand, my stitches are much more puffy. They have much more dimension than when I stitch in a hoop or in a Q-snap, which is usually my thing. When I stitch in a Q-snap, I do the stabbing method. I'm going up and going down, going up. So I get the stitch will lay about the same, both on top and on the bottom. When I stitch in hand, I put the needle through the fabric, like doing the whole stitch, and then I pull. So the stitch on top lays much more softer than the stitch underneath. The stitch underneath is pulled much tighter. And that gives this like puffy look. So I can't do like go from hoop to stitch in hand, because you will see the difference where I stitch in the hoop and where I stitch in hand. But yeah, so I'm doing this in hand. I've been loving stitching in hand at the moment, so I'm just rolling with it. And again, this is the little piece. I'm so excited because I'm trying a couple of new things. Let's continue with the chatting about this before we get into haul, because this is fun. One of the things that I have realized when I was stitching in hoop is that my lines are very, very clear. Even when I stitch in my Q-snap and have a more even stitch, it's very, very clear where I ended my line and there I would go vertically. And when I did the winter, the Christmas stitch here, Christmas house one, I showed you that, and I made this little zigzaggy effect because I thought that would help. It didn't. You can see the zigzag effect. It's not so beautiful, but it's just like this much at the top on the first row, so I'm just ignoring that. But yeah, so I've heard that going in the diagonal works. Also, Teresa Little Stitcher talked about she doing it in diagonal, and she gets a little bit more variation than going in rows or in columns. You get the variation of the stitch more, and being that the Stitch RX, not something like that. I will write it here if I remember. The iPad version. iPad similar program as Pattern Keeper. So I don't do Android or anything like that. I used to do Apple because everything I have is Apple. That is just how I work. So I'm using the Markup RX. That's the word, Markup RX, and they had a recent update where you now can stitch the whole pattern at once. You can stitch the whole pattern at once, which is just amazing. And then stitching in diagonal works really good because this is over 3 pages. So I started stitching in the diagonal and I directly saw that even just normally stitching in diagonal, I still get those very, very, very clear lines. So I did another thing, and this one I never heard about. I never seen it with someone, so I can't say, oh, this technique was created by this and this, because this was something just popped in my brain. Can this work? Let me try it. And that is, at the end of every row, two of the stitches, the last 2 stitches, is half stitches. This only works when you are working in the same color. So when you're working in this like big chunks, like I'm working right now, you can do this technique. So when the two last stitches are overlapping the same color, I just stitch them as half stitches, and then I jump those and go back and stitch the full stitches in that row. So I don't know if you can see it, but every of these vertical rows here or diagonal rows here have two half stitches. Then when I start the next diagonal row or column, or how you see it, I start stitching at the end of those half stitches. I stitch about 10 stitches, I jump the last two. Then when I stitch back, I also stitch those two half stitches from the previous row. So basically having two rows overlapping. And I can see, even though you still see the rows, they are not as clear as they were before. So I enjoy this technique, and I think after a wash you will see it even less. So I'm looking forward to continuing doing this, and this needs to be washed because of the grid. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So yes, that is Gamer Nouveau from Gecko Rose, and it was started 4 days ago. So I've been stitching about 1,000 stitches a day almost. It's just today I've stitched a lot less, but yeah. That was all my stitching, so let's jump into my haul. Well guys, it is time for a haul, and we're gonna start with my market purchases, plus a couple of small things I picked up while I was doing my market purchases. I don't buy a lot of patterns. I buy patterns whenever I want to stitch something. That is why I prefer PDF patterns, even though I have started to actually print a couple of them, because sometimes it is easier just to have a paper pattern with you than taking a 12.9-inch iPad. Yeah, that is a thing, but I don't have a lot of patterns. I don't have a lot of stash, even though I've been stitching for a very long time, because I was a monogamous stitcher for so long, and I didn't really... I'm at that, if I finish something, it can take me a couple of years to finish something, and when I get to that point I might not like what I already purchased. But now when I'm stitching a lot of smalls, they actually stitch very, very fast, so then you need more. So yeah, I started to collect some more. I'm still far away from being Sable, which is stitch acquisition beyond lifetime expectancy. I'm not there. I think I calculated that if you don't look at the when you look at the materials and what you can do with the materials, and and even when you count, I think my Heaven and Earth designs and my full cover stitches, I still have like 3 to 4 years, and then I would have run out of materials. So yeah. Anyhow, this is my the projects that I picked up from market. I am missing one that I really, really want. I'm hoping to be able to pick it up later. But anyhow, first of all, Heart in Hand. This cute little one. Which, isn't this adorable? Isn't this adorable? This is the Honey of a Frill. It is bees. I have fallen in love with bees. We're going to have bees everywhere. Everywhere. Then I went through the Silver Creek samplers, and I had so many in my bucket, but I would end up paying so much money for all of this, so I only picked up this. I picked them out of their plastic, so this is just the cover sheet. This is Introverted, because I'm introverted. I'm very, very introverted. But yeah, I think it's super cute. I would though stitch it only in DMCs, and I think this is just charted in variegated, so I'm gonna have to look into that. And then we have this one, which has a whole story. This is the reason why I missed the Tiny Town, the Honey Tiny Town, which I really, really wanted, was because I was waiting for this one. This is Kindred Spirits by Teresa Cugat, and it's so far away from what I usually stitch, but there's a whole story around it, okay? So this is early American folk art. Early American folk art is very similar to Swedish folk art. And I think it is because there was a lot of Swedish that kind of moved to the US in the 1800s. Anyhow, the colors and everything would fit perfectly in my grandmother corner. So in my kitchen, and I'm going to show you this as soon as our kitchen is back. It's getting there. Christopher is picking apart the sofa so we can put that on the recycling place, throw it away there, so that we can just get our kitchen back now. Now we have decided to keep our bedroom in the living room. Anyhow, we have 2 walls on each side in the kitchen, and because we don't use the kitchen, we have made a coffee nook out of the kitchen table because it folds down. So on one side we have the little coffee nook. We have Christopher's grandfather had 2 of these like mirror paintings, so they're mirrors and then they're like printed just in silhouettes in black from London, so they're like pub decorations almost. So we have them above the coffee machine, and then we have a little bench where we have all our machines, and there is where I'm going to put all of the rest of my coffee stitching. However, on the other side we have a very small wall, and have hung weaved paintings. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. They're basically weaved in small weave things, and they're weaved in wool, and they're gorgeous, and they're folk art, and I got them from my grandmother. One of them I actually asked for her to make, and I love it. And it fits perfectly with this. So when I saw this, I'm like, this is gonna be perfect. I have a place for it because I have 3 of those weaved images. One of them is more like a full image just, so I want to replace that with this. Isn't those gorgeous? I love them. But this is a huge stitch. Like, you can see that they're big, but these are, it's like 168 by 179, and it's almost full coverage. So it's gonna be a labor of love, but I love this. This is my favorite thing from the releases. So then while I was at it, and because I paid $35 in shipping to get these things here, I picked up 2 more. And that is the tiny towns, because I fall in love with the tiny towns. They're just so cute. So I have the Halloween tiny town, and I also picked up the Christmas tiny town. I am going to want to pick up the blooming tiny town and the honey tiny town if I can. Not gonna go with the patriotic because I'm not American, and I don't know, I always feel a little bit like some of the patriotic things look really good, but I'm not American, and having American flags all over my apartment, I don't think it would work. Yeah. Oops. Well, anyhow, I'm picking that up later. I'm gonna show you the last couple of things. I'm gonna see, can I show you this without just being shiny? Yes, I can. Look. This is some fabric that I picked up when I realized that I needed $37.81. I needed to purchase it. The place I purchased for is in Sweden, and it's gonna take me a couple of days to get it, but the shipping is a little bit cheaper than getting it from abroad. And they also have the DMCs for $14, so $1.4 instead of the $2.6, $2.8 that I need to pay in other stores. However, they have a you need to buy over a specific amount to if you buy under a specific amount, they have to add $2 for shipping and handling, because it will not be economic for them otherwise. So I picked up some fabric. I think all of these pieces are 50 by 55, so they are basically a quarter in 50 by 55 centimeters. So they're basically a quarter, a fat quarter. So the first one is Misty Blue by Swagart. It is a 16 count. Oh, I think I just bought 14 counts because I wanted... The 14 counts have more colors. The 16... They have 14 and 18 have a lot more colors, and the 16 count doesn't have that. But this is Misty Blue. It's very similar to the other blue. Let's see. I can show you now. As you can see, this is like... It's a little bit more blue. This has a little bit of a greener undertone, and it's a little bit darker. But otherwise they're very similar. So if you want something similar to this, and you can't get to Hobby Lobby, then try the Misty Blue. It's a gorgeous color. Then I also picked up a just a plain black. I do have another piece of plain black, but I needed more. There is a lot of beautiful like chalk art, both from the housewives, stitching housewives, Brain. Yes, Brain isn't working right now. But I also seen a bunch from Shannon Christine Designs. And then I have these, and this is Vintage Country Cream. And I accidentally bought two because, yes, that happened. This is a printed fabric. This is Swagot. So it's white on the inside. And then it is this like creamy, I don't know if that picks up. I have quite strong lights. But it has like this creamy, almost looks like it is hand dyed, but it is printed. I was just supposed to pick up one, and I'm not sure what I'm going to use these ones for because they're very light. Right now I'm in the murky tones, I think because of my migraine. But yeah, so I have two of those. We'll see what will happen. But yeah, that was all my haul. I have one little cross stitch thing that I want to show you. Because when I realized that my 3781 had ran out, I went through my stash to see if I had one more, and I didn't find it. And I realized that I still hadn't moved the skeins that I had bought in the US into my main stash. Also, I've been picking threads out of my main stash without noting it in my numbers sheet. So my numbers sheet wasn't correct. So I decided to just take a whole evening and sort my threads, and I have, which also meant I needed to have a new bucket for them. This is my skeins of DMC. It's almost a full set. So I have one set that is now split on drops and on bobbins, because I am moving away from bobbins into drops because I'm seeing that the little kinks that I get on my bobbins are visible when I'm stitching on 40 count, which is kind of annoying. So I'm moving all my threads to floss drops. I'm really enjoying floss drops, and also funny thing, I always thought that having them on floss drops is gonna be hard because of kitties. The cat doesn't really care. They're not biting them, they're not pulling them, they just don't care. However, they love my bobbins, especially Gizmo. He likes to go to my boxes if I forgot them open and just pull out one and then just play with it all around the apartment, and then it's just like a tuft of things. Usually you don't really have to throw it away. You just need to have to wound everything, and you might have one or two threads that has gone off, so you have a little bit shorter length, but it works. However, it's really annoying to have a cat go and steal your bobbins all the time. By the way, he stole Christopher's. Christopher has a little amigurumi that I stitched that was a Yoda, and he stole that one. Woke up in 4 o'clock in the morning and he was so happy, and Christopher was so mad. Anyhow, I have that set, and then I have a set of skeins, and this isn't a full set. I still need to fill it up with others, but it's almost, and they are put in plastic bags per numbers unless they fill up the plastic bags. So some of the like hundreds have multiple bags because there's so many colors, and also because some of these is like winnings when I have one whole box of 10 skeins. I don't know why you win that, but I won that. So I have some of these where I have a lot of skeins. And also I introduced all of the threads that I bought for my sloth lady. So I have multiples of many of the blues. But yeah, threads. So that was all on my stitching, and I promised to tell you a little bit about myself, but I'm noticing that my battery is running out, so I will tell you a little bit more about my life next week, and hopefully that video won't be as long as this. But thank you so much for watching. It has been a joy making this video, and I will see you next week. Bye!